Yeah, I'm so glad I did not wake up early. Oh man. Imagine if I had woken up at 8:30 and watched this shit. I thought this was okay. I got to be honest, Nix. I think it was a little under okay. I don't think it was terrible. I don't think it even was that, like if okay and bad is right here, this was right here. Cuz the highlight they at least ended on a strong, they at least did not pull a Square Enix, cuz Square Enix is so far the one that kind of hurts me the most. Because with Square Enix, what hurt me the most is that they started kind of strong with the reveal of Guardians of the Galaxy and then some Life is Strange stuff. And then they did the Final Fantasy, what a lot of people are perceiving to be, including Surface Assassin, perceiving to be a remake of Final Fantasy 1, which is the Shadow of Paradise, I think, or Stranger of Paradise, sorry. Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. But then it just trickled. It just trickled to where when it ended, there was nothing. It was like, and then Capcom was even worse. Capcom was like, "We're paying big money to have a showcase. So what are you showing?" We're not gonna show you, but we're gonna tell you that we're working on Resident Evil Village DLC. Like we're literally going to tell you with a screen with text that says we're working on DLC. We're not. That's it. Okay. And then we're going to show you some more of the Monster Hunter Stories, Wings of Ruin stuff for a game that comes out in about 2 weeks. Okay, what else? The guys who run the esports, they want to talk about some stuff. And we're going to close out with that. So far, I think the worst one is Capcom. Like you shouldn't have even shown up Capcom. There were like 3 games I was like, "Oh cool," but not super excited. Yeah, like I said, the telltale sign was that nobody hit me up. Um, I feel like somebody would have reached out to me on Discord or something with some kind of news. Um, and then I went on Instagram. Like I said, I saw a couple of people that I follow that are content creators, influencers, streamers, who even posted their faces just like that. I'm like, oh god, can you guys believe that we are at a point, and I'm not saying this in a very negative connotation, like I'm pretty proud of them. I really am, as far as like how they're able to kind of turn things around. We are in a time where so far we have an E3 and the big winner that comes out on top is Xbox, quite frankly. I think so far it's Xbox's game. And the only one to make their move yet is PlayStation. Which, frankly, I'm going to say it right now. If PlayStation does not surprise us with a surprise state of play by the end of this week, which could or could not happen, I would say, like, say, for example, tomorrow, Tuesday, I wake up and there's a headline saying, surprise state of play from Sony at the end of the week, like Thursday or Friday. Then, okay, maybe we might, maybe there's hope. Maybe there's hope of something to just kind of liven things up. Doesn't even necessarily have to be something exclusive to just PlayStation. It could be something that could be showcased at PlayStation, but it's going to be multi-plan, and it could, also come to Xbox, come to Switch, etc. However, we have yet to actually have a confirmation of that. So right now, by technicality, Xbox is so far who I would declare the winner, quote unquote, of what is already being felt as an antiquated E3. And here's the deal, playing devil's advocate, let's take the biggest of elephants into account, which is that we had a little something called the pandemic last year. And a lot of people called it that it wasn't going to be last year that was going to be dry as far as game announcements. It was actually going to be this year, because it was last year when several companies had to shut down their doors, at least for those initial 3 weeks that the pandemic came in full force around the March time, February, March, kind of April, where, it wasn't just these companies, it was also just businesses overall outside of the gaming industry. It was everything. And that was going to be the turning point that was going to cause a very dry E3 like this one. Nobody had anything to show. It's very transparent that nobody had anything to show. Not Nintendo, definitely not Capcom, and not even Square Enix. And Xbox was probably the only one that had a little bit of a um, ace up their sleeve in the form of that Bethesda acquisition. And for the most part, it looked like Bethesda already had some of this stuff already cooking, but because they made that acquisition, they could be like, well, now we're giving you a reason to be proud of owning your Series X, which is going to be all of those Xbox exclusives. Redfall, Starfield, obviously, um, plenty of other things, including those are going to be coming to Game Pass day one, giving Game Pass even more value. Outside of that, though, Ubisoft was okay. This direct was okay for the most part, but I think we are. I remember Matt from Girlfriend Reviews. Matt is the boyfriend in Girlfriend Reviews. He really did. He said something that resonated with me quite well, which is that E3 really is in its twilight years. That it may not be like it may not be officially dead as of this point, but we're starting to cycle towards that point where the ESA really needs to start considering cutting their losses and just being like, you know what, it's over. I mean, maybe by this point next year, enough herd immunity could be taken into consideration to have a proper conference. But the value of having a live audience to hype people up, to have presenters, to kind of build that hype, build that atmosphere was definitely missing with all of these like digital showcases. We thought that maybe the digital stuff could um work, but not when there's nothing to show. At that point, don't show up. And it looks like maybe Sony might be pulling the same kind of card and maybe being logical with it. Which is why, like I said, if we don't get any kind of announcement from Sony that they're going to be doing some kind of state of play by the end of this week, then I would say, quote unquote, they're disqualified from E3. But at the same time, that might actually end up benefiting them because at least they're not gonna waste our time. You know, they're not gonna showcase anything that is not ready to show and just beat around the bush and showing a bunch of stuff that we just don't care for. So back to the backlogs we go.